Colorado has some of the lowest property taxes in the country, but owning a home in Denver has an unexpected, massive cost that might surprise you. I've lived here for 12 years and I still see people being caught by these. So today I'm walking through the pros and cons of living in Denver that don't always make the relocation lists. Let's dive in. Starting with the con, number one, I have to put the insurance costs here. When you hear that Colorado has some of the lowest property taxes in the country, that sounds like a pretty clear win, and it really can be. But homeowners insurance in Colorado has risen over the last decade, so even if the property tax side looks good, pay attention to those insurance costs because it can certainly eat into some of the savings you're getting on the property tax side. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. One of them is wildfire. I hear that all of the time from people who are moving to Colorado from out of state, and of course, wildfire risk is real in Colorado, but in the Denver metro, that risk is a lot more contained than most people think. While wildfires can and have impacted metro area suburbs, the wildfires are primarily to our west in mountain towns where there are dense forests. The bigger driver of increased insurance costs in the metro is hail. Colorado's Front Range sits in what the insurance industry calls hail alley. We can get 2, 3, 4-inch size hail. Think softball-sized hail falling from the sky in an afternoon summer storm. As you might imagine, this can create all kinds of damage, from car windows and auto body dents to more expensive things like destroying your roof. And if you do get one of these very heavy hailstorms, your neighborhood will be inundated with roofers looking to do a replacement with the help of insurance, of course. Hail damage can make up half of what you're paying in your annual premium. This is a Denver metro issue. And when we get to the housing later, this is important, especially when you consider what kind of house you can get for your money in different parts of the region. Now, insurance costs alone should not scare buyers away from purchasing here, but it needs to be a part of the conversation from day one. The low property tax rate still helps, especially if you're moving from New York or Illinois or Texas. You just need to look at both numbers together before you decide what you can actually afford. It's an important conversation to be having, especially with a mortgage lender as you head into the buying process. Now, not everything about living here is a hidden cost. Some of the surprises work in your favor, and the first one changes what people think they know about Denver. People sometimes picture Denver as a cold mountain city with gray skies, snow piled up every other week, all of that. But Denver is not a mountain town. Nowhere close to it. I hear from people relocating to Denver worried that it's going to be a long, hard, cold winter of shoveling snow. Denver, while a mile high, is actually a high desert city sitting out on the high plains. The Rockies are right there to the west, of course, but down in the metro, winters are actually very mild, especially when you compare it to the Midwest, for example. The old adage goes that Denver gets around 300 days of sunshine a year. While that myth has been debunked, the real number is pretty close to that. The sun matters big time. If it's not windy and the sun is up, it can actually be very comfortable in the winter with an average high in the coldest months of 48 degrees. The mountains block a lot of the moisture coming from the west, and the city sits far enough out on the plains that you don't get that classic Midwest winter where the sky stays gray for weeks. Now, we do get storms. You'll get a few big snowstorms every season, and I'd be doing you a disservice if I acted like that doesn't happen at all. But the sun comes back very fast and melts everything away within a couple of days. I hear from my Midwest friends all the time, the snow in Denver melts off the pavement while other cities across the country wouldn't even be done plowing. And people are right back outside. That's Denver winter. People golf here in January, and I'm not exaggerating. There are stretches in the middle of the winter where it's pushing 60 degrees and the courses are busy and outdoor patios fill up. In the spring, we get into some gorgeous 70-degree plus days, and summer is my favorite season. Getting outside daily is mandatory in my house. Cycling awesome suburban trails, pool days with my family, grilling out every night, and then popping up to the mountains for the best hiking you've ever done in your life. It is the best. And this weather is a big reason Denver has such a different social culture than a lot of other cities. I'll get into this more later, but it surprises people who move here. But before that, if you're trying to figure out whether Denver is the right fit or whether you're in the right part of the metro for this stage of your life, that's the kind of conversation I'm having every single week. Please reach out. All of my contact info is in the description below. I would love to help you find the home and neighborhood that's right for you. Okay, let's get back into it. Now, when you can use your outdoor space for 10 months out of the year, that patio, yard, rooftop deck, or front porch starts to matter more than it would in a colder market. That outdoor access shapes the culture here in a way that goes well beyond the weather, and that's where things start to get expensive. When I first moved to Denver, I wanted to do it all. Hiking, Cycling, golfing, skiing, fly fishing, some like rafting and boating and rock climbing. All of that requires gear. Do you see where I'm going with this? Denver makes people spend more time with their outdoor hobbies, which can mean spending more on your gear. That's just what this place does. And frankly, most don't have regrets about it. I'm happy to have my skis, my clubs, and my bicycle. It's all a big part of my life. There's just so much to do here, and the culture is so built around getting outside that sticking with one activity gets hard fast. It always happens like this. You spend your first summer hiking, nice hiking pack, comfy shoes, then fall comes, and after a few nice fall color hikes, you realize ski season is around the corner and you want to go at least 5 times up to the mountains to go skiing, so you buy an Icon or an Epic Pass, plus you upgrade your ski gear. After a fun winter of skiing, you realize that you don't just want to hike, you want to bike the thousands of miles of trails or hit the water with a new fly fishing rod. And I mean this in the most loving way possible. Most people in the outdoor crowd here have an REI membership. The flagship REI store is right here in Denver inside a restored Denver tramway building from the early 1900s near Confluence Park. It's enormous and actually very cool, but it's one of many outdoor stores that you'll find across the metro area. Later, when we cover the housing and price point, this gains a lot more importance than people think, so stick around. Now, what you can afford in Denver is tied to how much of your budget this lifestyle starts eating up before you notice it. All of that beyond mortgage and insurance costs. It's a lifestyle tax, not a traditional con, but for the right person, the money you spend on gear feels worth it because you're using it. Of course, if you have self-control, unlike myself, a simple pair of hiking boots will take you to some of the most beautiful landscapes in the world right in our own backyard. Denver doesn't force you to spend the money, it just makes it easy to justify. And on the flip side, all of that gear spending does point to something important about life here before you write it off as just another cost. You'll probably get healthier just by living here, and most of it happens without you trying that hard. Colorado ranks in the top 10 of the country for physical health, and it's not because people here are just more disciplined than everybody else. It's because the environment makes it easier to be active. I just covered it, but there's something to do in every single season. In the winter, you've got top-tier skiing. In the summer and fall, you've got hiking through jaw-dropping forests and alpine lakes. And for me personally, I'm a big cyclist and golfer, and the gravel trail network through the Denver metro is something a lot of people don't expect until they're out there using it. From rock climbing, kayaking, hiking, biking, skiing, and golf to whatever your thing is, you can find it here. And the trail access and park infrastructure are a big reason some Denver suburbs are more compelling than people expect at first. But outdoor access is built into the way neighborhoods are designed here. So when developers build a master planned community, trails, pools, and parks are often part of the baseline. They're part of how the neighborhood works. And when a trail runs near your front door, you use it. You just use it to get somewhere, walk the dog, clear your head, or spend 20 minutes outside after dinner, walk it off. Before you've lived through a full year in Denver, you may find yourself moving more than you did before because the city kind of pulls you in that direction. And that shapes the culture in a way you'll feel the moment you go out to dinner. Imagine this for a second. You've had a restaurant on your list for a while. All the good stuff, great food, packed room, good buzz. You get dressed, head out, and the couple at the table next to you is wearing flip-flops and a fleece. That's Denver. And I say this with a lot of affection. We are a pretty crunchy city. The outdoor lifestyle doesn't always shut off when people walk into a restaurant or a cocktail bar. It shows up in the social scene, the dress code, and the overall feel of the city. Now, I don't want to make it sound like we're a bunch of slobs here in Denver, and honestly, I think more and more people are dressing the part in some of our nicer restaurants. There are always people in a restaurant who are dressed for the occasion, but it's not surprising to see some in more casual attire. So if you're coming from a city where getting dressed up is a part of the night, Denver might surprise you a bit. All of that to say, the food here is getting better and better every year. We now have Michelin recognition across the city. Find me on Instagram, by the way. I'm always trying new restaurants out here. The bar scene is solid, some really great cocktail lounges. If you're looking to feel a bit more elevated, Cherry Creek always feels a little more polished, but overall, a very casual city, and depending on who you are, that's either a con or one of the best things about living here. Pro number 3, Denver is extremely casual. Okay, kind of an annoying one to put in this list, but if you're the kind of person who likes going from yoga to brunch without changing, Denver is going to feel pretty natural. This city was built for that. We do everything in running shoes or hiking boots, and I mean everything. There isn't this big switch that happens when you go from a trail to a coffee shop or from a bike ride to a bar. The outdoor life and the social life, they kind of blend together here. And if that matches how you like to move through your day, it can feel freeing. The casualness here doesn't mean people don't care. There's a premium on being always ready to go outside, ready to change plans, ready to say yes when the weather is good and someone texts you about a hike after work. That kind of freedom shapes how people dress, how they schedule their lives, and how they think about work-life balance. They choose ski days during the week if they can, hikes after work, or take bike commutes that nobody thinks twice about. For the people who made that trade on purpose, it often pays off the way they hoped it would, but fitting it into the lifestyle is one thing. The housing market is a different conversation, and that's where things get real. I have this conversation more than any other, and I'd rather you hear it now than figure it out the hard way. The city of Denver itself, within the city limits, can be a challenging place to find a starter home. I work with home buyers in all price ranges, from the entry point of $400,000 to multi-million-dollar homes, but first-time buyers often come to me with a pretty clear picture of what they want. Usually, it's a solid single-family home, good condition, a yard, garage, 3 bedrooms, updated, walkable to something, all of that inside Denver city limits. And the honest answer is that home exists starting at about $600K, but in that $600,000 to $700,000 price range, you may be looking at a smaller home under 2,000 square feet. It may not be your number one neighborhood choice, or the home may need a little bit of cosmetic love. If you want a fully updated home with a real primary suite, a yard, a garage, 2-car, a neighborhood people are already chasing, you're getting into the mid-800s and beyond in Denver. And in places like Cherry Creek, Wash Park, or Lohi, you go well beyond $800K. That's just the reality of what the city itself costs. Now, the suburbs can solve a lot of this. Minutes away, places like Lakewood, Arvada, Centennial, Wheat Ridge all keep you within reach of downtown, and the price points are more approachable. Go further out from downtown, and Castle Rock and Parker can give you even more house, lots more square footage, newer construction, master plan communities with trails and parks already built in. And for a lot of people, that trade-off works well. But if you're moving to the city of Denver, you want that urban energy, the walkability, and the feeling of being close to everything, a suburban option may not give you the same day-to-day life. And I'd rather you know that now. The market right now is more buyer-friendly than it's been in years. Inventory is up, homes are sitting a little bit longer, and buyers have room to negotiate, more room than they had not long ago. But if you're moving to the city of Denver and you want that urban energy, the walkability, the feeling of being close to everything, a suburban option may not give you that same day-to-day life. And I'd rather you know that now. But the good news is the market has changed a bit. The market right now is more buyer-friendly than it's been in years. Inventory is up, homes are sitting a little bit longer, buyers have more room to negotiate than they had not long ago. So if you've been waiting for conditions to improve to maybe find your way into the city of Denver, if that's what you're after, the conditions have changed in many ways. And once you understand the full map of Denver Metro, the picture gets a lot more interesting, and you can start searching for homes with more intention. So the flip side of everything we just talked about, a lot of the noise around Denver housing costs comes from people who only look inside the city limits of Denver and decided that was the whole story. But once you get 15 minutes outside of Denver proper, your options really start to open up. At 20 minutes, the picture changes even more, and within about 30 minutes of downtown Denver, in almost any direction, you can find something that checks more of your boxes at a price point that makes more sense if you are limited on that number. If you want newer construction, more space, a yard, a garage, the whole setup, places like Castle Rock, Parker, Thornton, Broomfield, Arvada, all starts to make more sense. If you want something more established with walkability and character, look at Lakewood, Littleton, Westminster, Wheat Ridge, and if you want strong value, easy highway access in one of the more underrated communities in the metro, Aurora deserves a closer look, some of the best bang for your buck if you're willing to be a little further away from the center of Denver. You don't have to live inside Denver to access Denver. Red Rocks is about 15 miles from downtown. The trail network runs through the suburbs, and the restaurants, sports, culture, you're all still a part of that. Your address doesn't have to be in the 80203 for that to be true. You just need to be within a reasonable drive, and within 30 minutes, most of the metro gives you that. The variety here is a real strength. You just have to be willing to look at the full map, and when you do, Denver starts to look a lot different than the headlines make it seem. People who do best in Denver are the ones who have all the information and broaden their scope a bit. Knowing the trade-offs means you can make a move that fits your life, your budget, and the way you want to spend your time years from now. So if you're watching this and realizing your current home or neighborhood doesn't match where you are in life, feel free to reach out to me. You can email me, Ryan@ryanhaarer.com today. The market, again, more negotiable than it's been in years, and if you know where to look, that can work in your favor. And if you're now wondering where in the Denver metro it makes sense to buy before prices catch up or the market shifts again, I've linked a video covering 7 projects transforming Denver right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.